The gleaming white walls of the International Space Station's observation deck reflected the distant starlight as humanity's greatest achievements slowly materialized against the backdrop of endless space. The quantum void battleship, named HS Prometheus after the mythical titan who gave fire to humanity, emerged from what appeared to be thin air, its massive hull seeming to bend the very fabric of reality around it. The chief scientist on the observation deck couldn't contain their excitement, hands trembling as they adjusted their tablet's recording settings. This moment would go down in history, the first public demonstration of technology that even the most advanced alien civilizations had deemed impossible. "Look at how the starlight bends around the hull," whispered one of the junior engineers, their voice filled with wonder. The ship's surface appeared to absorb light in impossible ways, creating what looked like a hole in space itself. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once, a testament to human ingenuity and determination. The vessel's size alone was breathtaking, stretching nearly a kilometer in length, its dark hull decorated with subtle geometric patterns that served both aesthetic and functional purposes. Each line and curve had been meticulously designed to channel quantum energies in ways that the scientific community was only beginning to understand. The room fell silent as the ship's main engines powered up, creating a soft blue glow that pulsed like a heartbeat. The chief engineer gripped the railing tightly, remembering the countless sleepless nights spent perfecting the quantum void drive. 15 years of work, hidden away in the most secure facility on Earth, had led to this moment. 20 years ago, if someone had suggested that humans would create technology capable of manipulating the fabric of space-time itself, they would have been laughed out of any respectable scientific institution. But necessity, as they say, is the mother of invention. When the first alien ships appeared at the edge of our solar system 3 months ago, humanity faced a choice: adapt or perish. The observation deck's screens displayed real-time data from the ship's quantum sensors. Numbers and graphs danced across the displays, showing readings that should have been impossible according to traditional physics. The project director watched with pride as each system came online perfectly, just as they had planned. The ship's communication officer's voice crackled through the station's speakers, calm and professional despite the historic nature of the moment. Prometheus to control, all systems are nominal. Quantum void drive is stable and responding as expected. We are ready to begin demonstration maneuvers. Down on Earth, in living rooms and public squares across the globe, billions of humans watched the livestream with bated breath. This wasn't just a show of force, it was humanity's declaration to the cosmos that we would not go quietly into the night. We had taken the laws of physics and rewritten them in our own image. Hidden cameras on nearby satellites captured the entire scene, the massive battleship hovering against the star-filled backdrop, its hull rippling with quantum energies that defied explanation. These images would soon be broadcast across every screen on Earth, a message of hope and defiance to a population that had lived in fear since the arrival of the alien fleet. The chief scientists smiled as they thought about how this moment would be remembered. Not as the day humanity cowered before superior alien technology, but as the day we proved that human creativity and determination could overcome any obstacle. That HS Prometheus wasn't just a warship, it was a symbol of humanity's relentless drive to push beyond its limits, to achieve what others deemed impossible. The day the alien fleet appeared at the edge of our solar system started like any other. Astronomers at the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Chile were the first to notice the anomalous readings. At first, they thought their equipment was malfunctioning. The energy signatures were unlike anything ever recorded before. Within hours, every major telescope on Earth and in orbit was pointed at the same spot. The images they captured sent shockwaves through the global community. A fleet of massive ships, each one larger than Earth's largest cities, hung motionless beyond Neptune's orbit. Their metallic surfaces reflected our distant sun, creating an eerie light show that was visible even with amateur telescopes. The world's governments scrambled to respond. Emergency meetings were called, military forces were put on high alert, and the public demanded answers. Social media exploded with theories and speculation, while news channels ran non-stop coverage of what many were calling humanity's most critical moment. Then came the message. It wasn't delivered through radio waves or any conventional means of communication. Instead, every screen on Earth, from smartphones to billboards, simultaneously displayed the same image. The aliens, who called themselves the Zarkax, had hijacked our global communications network with embarrassing ease. Their message was simple and terrifying: submit or be erased. The Zarkax spoke perfect English, their words dripping with contempt. They described humans as barely evolved primates who had polluted their own nest. According to them, Earth would be better off under their guidance. The public reaction was a mixture of panic and defiance. While some people rushed to stockpile supplies and flee to rural areas, others took to the streets in protest. They carried signs declaring Earth for humans and we won't bow down. The human spirit, it seemed, wouldn't be so easily broken. World leaders tried to negotiate, sending message after message into space. The Zarkax responded only once more, giving Earth a deadline: 3 Earth months to surrender unconditionally. Their message included brief demonstrations of their technological superiority, scenes of entire planets being reshaped according to their will. But what the aliens didn't know was that humanity had an ace up its sleeve. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, in a facility unknown to all but a select few, Earth's greatest minds had been preparing for this very moment. Not because they knew the Zarkax were coming, but because they understood that humanity needed to be ready for anything. The quantum physics project had started as a theoretical exercise. Could humans find a way to manipulate the fabric of reality itself? The greatest minds from every corner of the globe had worked together in secret, sharing knowledge and breaking down the barriers between different scientific disciplines. As the deadline approached, the project's existence was finally revealed to the world. The news sparked a fresh wave of hope. Humans had always been at their best when faced with seemingly impossible challenges. Now, with our backs against the wall, we were about to show the universe what humanity was truly capable of. The Zarkax's arrogance would be their undoing. They had assumed that no primitive species could possibly have technology that rivaled theirs. They hadn't bothered to look too closely at Earth's defensive capabilities, confident in their superior numbers and firepower. That mistake was about to cost them dearly. The secret facility beneath Antarctica's ice wasn't just a laboratory, it was humanity's greatest collaboration. Hidden 2 kilometers below the surface, the massive complex housed research teams from every major nation. Political differences were set aside in pursuit of something greater, unlocking the secrets of quantum physics. The project started 15 years ago when a breakthrough in quantum entanglement suggested something extraordinary. 2 particles could affect each other instantly, regardless of distance. This defied Einstein's theory that nothing could travel faster than light. But what if Einstein wasn't wrong? What if there was another way to think about space and time? The facility grew as more countries joined the effort. Massive generators powered experimental equipment that pushed the boundaries of known science. The researchers lived in an underground city, complete with hydroponic gardens and recreation facilities. Many sacrificed years with their families, driven by the pure desire to understand the universe's deepest mysteries. The first major breakthrough came when the team discovered how to maintain quantum states in larger objects. Previous experiments only worked with tiny particles, but they found a way to scale up. They called it quantum coherence amplification. It wasn't just a technical achievement, it was the key to everything that followed. The second breakthrough was even more impressive. They learned how to create quantum void bubbles, spaces where the normal rules of physics could be bent or even rewritten. Inside these bubbles, objects could exist in multiple states simultaneously. It was like having a piece of reality that played by different rules. But theory was one thing, building an actual ship was another challenge entirely. New materials had to be invented that could channel quantum energies without breaking apart. Computer systems needed to process information in ways never before imagined. Every component had to be perfect because the slightest flaw could cause catastrophic failure. The construction took place in massive underground chambers. Special robots, controlled by the world's best engineers, assembled the ship piece by piece. The hull alone took 3 years to complete, each panel precisely crafted to handle the incredible stresses of quantum manipulation. Testing was dangerous work. The first prototype, the size of a car, vanished during its initial test. It reappeared 2 weeks later, somehow both brand new and centuries old at the same time. The scientists learned from each failure, refining their understanding of how quantum physics worked on a massive scale. The project might have continued in secret for years more if the aliens hadn't arrived. But their threat changed everything. The world's governments decided it was time to accelerate the timeline. Resources poured in. The best minds from every field were brought together. What might have taken another decade was compressed into 3 desperate months. As the deadline approached, the facility buzzed with activity around the clock. Final systems were installed, tested, and refined. The quantum core, heart of the ship's revolutionary drive, underwent countless simulations. Everyone knew they only had one chance to get this right. If the ship failed, Earth would have no defense against the alien fleet. Through it all, the team never lost sight of what they were fighting for. This wasn't just about proving something to the aliens, it was about proving something to ourselves. Humans could achieve incredible things when we worked together, when we pushed past our limitations and dared to imagine the impossible. The crew selection for humanity's first quantum void battleship was unlike any recruitment process in history. The ship needed 300 of Earth's finest, and every position was crucial. People who could think creatively under pressure, who could adapt to the impossible, who could face the unknown without flinching. The ship's bridge crew underwent 6 months of intensive training compressed into just a few weeks. They learned to interpret quantum sensor readings that seemed to contradict each other. The navigation team practiced plotting courses through space that technically didn't exist. Each crew member had to understand the basics of quantum physics, their lives would depend on it. The chief commander, a veteran of 3 space missions, stood on the bridge of that HMS Prometheus for the first time. The ship's controls were unlike anything in human history. Holographic displays showed the quantum state of every system, streams of data that would have seemed like nonsense just a few months ago. All stations, report readiness. The commander's voice was steady, masking the tension everyone felt. One by one, each section responded. Engineering confirmed the quantum core was stable. Navigation reported all systems aligned. Medical stood ready for any quantum-related health issues they might encounter. The launch countdown began. In the control room deep beneath Antarctica, scientists monitored every detail. The quantum core's energy levels rose steadily. The ship's hull began to shimmer as quantum fields activated, creating layers of reality that existed simultaneously. T-minus 60 seconds, announced the flight controller. The crew ran final checks. Every person on board knew they were about to attempt something that even the aliens thought impossible. That would either make history or become part of it. The quantum drive activated with a sound unlike anything ever heard before, a deep resonance that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The air itself appeared to ripple as quantum fields expanded around the ship. Reality began to bend. "Quantum bubble stable," reported the engineering chief. All readings nominal. The ship now existed in multiple states at once, here and not here, present and absent, a paradox made real by human ingenuity. The first test was a simple maneuver, moving the ship 10 kilometers straight up. But in quantum space, simple had a different meaning. The Prometheus didn't so much move as shift, the space around it folding like paper in an origami master's hands. Cheers erupted across every deck as the maneuver succeeded. Quantum sensors confirmed their position, showing readings that would rewrite physics textbooks. The ship had moved without crossing the space between its starting and ending points. More tests followed. Each success built the crew's confidence. They learned to trust their training, to believe in the impossible. The ship responded perfectly, its quantum systems working exactly as designed. Humanity had done it. We had created something that would change the course of human history forever. The Zarkak's flagship's sensors first detected the Prometheus as a strange anomaly, a blur in space that shouldn't exist. Their advanced detection systems, capable of tracking the smallest space debris across light years, couldn't make sense of what they were seeing. The alien commander ordered immediate scans of the area. The results made no sense. According to their instruments, something both existed and didn't exist in that space. It violated everything they knew about physics. Some of their sensors showed nothing at all, while others reported impossible energy readings. On their main viewing screen, the human vessel finally revealed itself. The sight left the alien crew speechless. The ship's dark hull seemed to absorb light in ways their science couldn't explain. It appeared to shift and change, as if it occupied multiple positions in space simultaneously. "Impossible," muttered the alien science officer, then multiple eyes widening in disbelief. The Zarkax had conquered hundreds of worlds, encountered countless civilizations, but they had never seen anything like this. Their computers couldn't even maintain a stable lock on the vessel. It kept shifting between different quantum states. The alien commander ordered their most advanced scanning beams to focus on the human ship. These were the same sensors that could peer through planets, map entire solar systems in seconds. But when the beams hit the Prometheus, they simply disappeared. It was as if the ship existed in a different layer of reality altogether. More alarms started blaring across the alien bridge. Their quantum detection systems were going haywire. The human ship wasn't just bending the laws of physics, it was rewriting them. Energy patterns spiraled out from its hull in impossible patterns, creating ripples in space-time itself. The alien weapons officer reported that their targeting systems couldn't lock onto the vessel. How do you aim at something that exists in multiple places at once? Their most advanced missiles would be useless against a target that could simply step sideways out of reality. Fear began to spread through the alien crew, not the fear of defeat, but the fear of the unknown. They had assumed humans were primitive, barely able to reach their own moon. But this ship represented technology that even the Zarkax had only theorized about. How had the humans achieved this? The alien commander watched in growing concern as their sensors recorded more data. The human ship wasn't just a defensive marvel. It represented a complete mastery of quantum physics that went beyond anything in the Zarkax database. Every moment they observed it, it revealed new impossibilities. As the data poured in, the alien crew began to realize something that shook them to their core. They weren't just facing a new type of ship. They were witnessing the birth of a new era in space travel. And somehow, impossibly, humans had gotten there first. The Prometheus crew knew it was time to show the aliens exactly what their ship could do. The commander gave the order, and the quantum demonstration began. What followed was a display of technology that would be remembered for centuries to come. First, the massive battleship split into 5 perfect copies of itself, each one as real as the original. The alien sensors couldn't tell which was the true ship, because in quantum reality, they all were. Each copy moved in perfect synchronization, performing maneuvers that seemed to mock the laws of physics. The alien fleet launched a volley of warning shots, powerful energy beams that could slice through a moon. But the Prometheus simply phased out of existence, letting the beams pass harmlessly through the space where it had been. When it reappeared, it was behind the alien fleet, then above it, then beside it, moving faster than light itself. Next came the most impressive demonstration. The Prometheus approached a small asteroid, roughly the size of a city block. Instead of going around it, the ship passed directly through it, its quantum field allowing it to exist in the same space as the solid rock without either being affected. The alien observers watched in stunned silence. The ship's quantum core pulsed with pure energy, creating ripples in space-time that the alien sensors could detect but not understand. Each ripple bent reality in new ways, showing capabilities that the Zarkax had thought would take thousands more years to develop. During one maneuver, the Prometheus seemed to age 1,000 years and revert to brand new in the span of seconds. Its hull flickered with possibilities, showing versions of itself from countless alternate realities. Each version was different, but all were equally impossible by the aliens' understanding of physics. The quantum drive allowed the ship to perform tight turns that would have crushed any normal crew. But inside the quantum bubble, the laws of inertia had no meaning. The crew felt nothing as their ship danced through space like a leaf in the wind, defying every rule of movement and momentum. When the Prometheus demonstrated its defensive capabilities, even the most hardened alien warriors felt their confidence shake. Energy weapons were absorbed into quantum fields and simply ceased to exist. Physical projectiles passed through the ship as if it were made of smoke, while the ship remained solid and real. The human crew executed each maneuver with perfect precision, showing that this wasn't just a technological advantage, it was a complete mastery of an entirely new field of science. Every movement was calculated, every demonstration chosen to show the full range of what humanity had achieved. As the demonstration reached its end, the Prometheus performed one final feat. It created a quantum mirror showing the alien fleet countless reflections of itself from different realities. In some, their ships were destroyed. In others, they never existed at all. It was a subtle reminder of the power humans now held, the power to reshape reality itself. The alien commander's control room fell into complete silence. The demonstration had shattered every assumption they'd held about human capabilities. Their most sophisticated weapon systems, technology that had conquered dozens of worlds, now seemed as primitive as sticks and stones. The commander's multiple hands gripped their command chair tightly. Years of military experience meant nothing in the face of what they'd just witnessed. Their ship's computer was still trying to process the sensor data from the Prometheus's demonstration, but kept returning error messages. The quantum signatures simply didn't match any known physical laws. Reports flooded in from every department of the alien flagship. The science team's calculations showed that the human ship's quantum technology was at least 1,000 years ahead of their projections. The weapons division admitted that none of their current systems could effectively target, let alone damage, a vessel that could manipulate reality itself. The strategic implications hit hard. If humans could build one such ship in secret, how many more were under construction? The quantum technology they'd witnessed could revolutionize not just warfare, but every aspect of space travel and exploration. The Zarkax's technological advantage, maintained for centuries across hundreds of star systems, had evaporated in a single afternoon. More disturbing was the realization that humans had achieved this breakthrough under pressure in response to a direct threat. If this was what humans could do when backed into a corner, what else were they capable of? The commander thought about their species' long history of conquest, how they'd always relied on superior technology to subdue lesser races. The alien crew's morale was visibly shaken. Many had served in multiple conquest campaigns, but none had ever encountered anything like this. Some began quietly discussing the old legends of voidwalkers, mythical beings who could step between realities. Had humans somehow turned these legends into reality? The tactical officer's report was equally concerning. Analysis suggested that traditional space warfare strategies would be useless against quantum void technology. How do you fight an enemy that can simply choose which reality to exist in? Their entire military doctrine, perfected over centuries, had become obsolete in minutes. Fear spread through the alien fleet, not of immediate destruction, but of what this meant for their future. Their civilization had defined itself by its technological superiority. Now they faced a species that had not only caught up, but had taken an evolutionary leap forward in military capability. The commander received urgent messages from their homeworld. The political implications were already sending shockwaves through their empire. Other subjugated species would soon learn of this development. The carefully maintained image of Zarkak's invincibility was crumbling. As the reality of their situation sank in, the commander faced a truth they'd never expected. Humans weren't just another primitive species to be conquered. They were an emerging power that had done the impossible, and they had done it right under the Zarkax's noses. Rather than attack, the Prometheus crew initiated contact with the alien fleet. A communication signal pulsed out, riding quantum waves that couldn't be blocked or intercepted. The message was clear and strong, broadcasting on all frequencies in the alien's own language. The human commander's voice carried no hint of arrogance or aggression, just quiet confidence. "This is the HS Prometheus. We've demonstrated a fraction of our capabilities. Now let's talk about peace." The words echoed through every alien vessel, impossible to ignore. The alien commander had no choice but to respond. The communication screens flickered to life, showing the human bridge crew standing proud at their stations. The contrast was striking. Where alien ships bred for war were all sharp angles and weapon ports, the Prometheus's bridge looked almost peaceful despite its power. The conversation that followed would change the course of galactic history. The human commander explained that Earth had no interest in conquest or dominion. The quantum void technology wasn't developed as a weapon, but as a key to unlock the universe's deepest mysteries. As they talked, more data about the Prometheus was shared. The aliens learned that this ship was just the first. Earth's quantum shipyards were already constructing more vessels, each one incorporating improvements and refinements to the original design. The message was subtle but clear: humanity was not to be underestimated. The alien leaders were particularly struck by human diplomatic approach. Despite holding a clear technological advantage, Earth's representatives spoke of cooperation and mutual understanding. They offered to share some aspects of quantum technology in exchange for peaceful relations and cultural exchange. Watching from Earth, billions held their breath as the negotiations continued. Screens worldwide showed the alien fleet, still massive and intimidating, but now facing something they'd never encountered before, a species that had leapfrogged past their technological superiority. The human commander shared videos of life on Earth, our art, music, scientific achievements, and most importantly, our diversity. The aliens saw how humans from different nations had worked together to create the quantum void technology, setting aside old rivalries for a greater purpose. The turning point came when the commander explained why they'd named the ship Prometheus, after the mythical figure who gave fire to humanity. Like that ancient gift, the commander said, "We believe knowledge should light the way forward for all species, not be hoarded as a weapon." The message resonated with the alien crew in unexpected ways. Their own history spoke of similar moments when technological advances had changed their society's path. Now they faced a choice: continue their warlike ways or embrace a new way of thinking about their place in the universe. Within days of the historic meeting, the massive alien fleet began its retreat beyond Neptune's orbit. It wasn't a surrender, it was something far more significant, a recognition that the galaxy had changed forever. The sight of those enormous ships moving away from Earth sparked celebrations across every continent. The quantum void technology quickly became Earth's gateway to the stars. Research teams worldwide began adapting the breakthrough for civilian use. The same technology that could power a battleship could also revolutionize space exploration, communication, and energy production. International cooperation, which had started as a necessity for the quantum project, became the new normal. Countries that had once been rivals now worked together openly, sharing resources and knowledge. The presence of the alien threat had united humanity, but it was our success that kept us united. Trade negotiations with the Zarkax Empire began cautiously. Their diplomats arrived on Earth, not as conquerors, but as equals seeking to understand how humans had achieved the impossible. They found a species that had transformed fear into determination, threat into opportunity. Earth's quantum shipyards worked around the clock, launching new vessels into space. Each ship improved on the Prometheus's design, incorporating lessons learned from that first historic flight. But these weren't warships, they were exploration vessels, research ships, and diplomatic carriers. The scientific community buzzed with excitement as quantum physics opened new doors. Theories that had once been considered impossible were proven true. The universe, it seemed, was far stranger and more wonderful than anyone had imagined, and humans were now at the forefront of understanding it. News spread through the galaxy about Earth's quantum breakthrough. Other alien species, hearing that someone had finally challenged Zarkax dominance, reached out to establish diplomatic relations. Earth became a hub of interstellar culture and commerce, all because we dared to think differently. Looking back, historians would mark this as the moment humanity truly joined the galactic community, not through conquest or submission, but by proving that determination, creativity, and cooperation could overcome any challenge. The quantum void technology became our contribution to galactic civilization. The Prometheus itself became a symbol not just of human achievement, but of peaceful progress. It stood as proof that when pushed to our limits, humans could achieve the impossible. And more importantly, we could choose to use that achievement not for dominance, but for the advancement of all species.